Now let's say that there is a body on which there is only one force that is acting, and that force is gravitational force. So it is observed that when only gravitational force is acting on the body, then the body will have a constant or a uniform acceleration, and that acceleration is called the acceleration due to gravity. So let's start with the concept of acceleration due to gravity. So when there is only one force acting on any object, then we say that the body is in free fall. So let's first try to understand what is free fall. When a body is falling only under the influence of gravitational force, then that motion is called free fall. So free fall is simple. Whenever some object is moving only under the force of gravity, we call this a free fall. Okay, so as we discussed that gravitational force has quite a few distinct properties, but the main property is that the force of gravity is inverse square law and it depends on the masses of the objects. So when the body is in free fall, there will be some acceleration because gravitational force is acting, and whenever there is a force, then there will be some acceleration. But the acceleration due to gravity will be approximately a constant. So acceleration due to gravity is represented by small g, and acceleration due to gravity is the acceleration due to the force of gravitational influence. Acceleration due to the force of gravitation is represented by small g. Now the acceleration due to gravity has various different values, but on the surface of earth, value of acceleration due to gravity is approximately a constant value. That is g is equal to 9.8 meters per second square approximately on or near the surface of earth. The value of g is approximately a constant value and it is 9.8 meter per second square, and more precisely you can say 9.80665 meter per second square. As I told you, the value of g depends on many other factors, but we are only saying that on or near the surface of earth this value is approximately 9.8 meter per second square. So what is the value of acceleration due to gravity? So the value of acceleration due to gravity is F upon m, force upon mass. How? Because we know that force is mass into acceleration, and at the place of usual acceleration we can put acceleration due to gravity when the force is of gravitational nature. So acceleration due to gravity is equal to the force of gravity divided by the mass of the body. Now when we put the value of acceleration due to the force of gravity, we know that it will be m upon r square upon m. Now let me clarify that capital M is the mass of, we are only discussing about earth for now, this is the mass of earth, or in general any celestial object, like moon, sun, Jupiter. Small m is the mass of any object, of any usual object. And r is the radius of Earth or any celestial object. So what does it mean? That let's say this is Earth, then this is the radius r, and the object is here. So the value of g depends on g is equal to gm upon r square. M and m get cancelled, small m get cancelled. So this is the formula for acceleration due to gravity on the surface of Earth. Now we will modify this formula further, and we will discuss about various phenomena also. But before that, let's take one more important topic, that is weight of a body. So what is a weight? What is the meaning of a weight? So let's say you are going to weigh yourself, and this is the weighing machine. Now what happens when you stand up on this weighing machine? I am just telling you the very simple mechanism. So what happens is that there is this spring. So more your mass, more the compression of this spring, and more the spring compresses, the more the deviation of the pointer in the weighing machine. Okay. So what exactly is happening here? Why are you able to push the spring down? Because there is a force of gravity acting downward. But if there is a force of gravity acting downward and you are at rest, so then there must be a force which is acting upward, and we know that that force is the normal force, reaction force, which is provided by the surface. This surface will provide the normal force. So what is weight? So weight is the reaction force provided in opposition to the gravitational force. So this normal force, which is providing us a force which is acting in opposite direction to that of gravitational force, is the weight of our body. So more is the normal force, more will be the weight, and obviously normal force here is equal to gravitational force. We know gravitational force is equal to mg, so normal force is equal to mg, and therefore we say that weight is equal to mg. So this is our formula, weight is equal to mg. So what is weight? Weight is the opposition provided by the surface to the gravitational force. More the opposition, more will be your weight. So when you do not have any surface to provide the normal force, your weight will be 0. For example, when you are falling freely, so then there is no surface to provide you normal force. So in that case your weight will be 0 when you are in free fall. So weight is not not because only of the gravitational force. Weight is because of the surface which is opposing the gravitational force. Okay, so now we can move on to some more detail of acceleration due to gravity. So the acceleration due to gravity is not a constant. It varies with mass of the object, celestial object, and the radius or the size of the celestial object. But there is more to it. So we will discuss about the variation. Next topic is the variation of acceleration due to gravity. The first thing will be variation of g with height. When we go up, then what will be the change in the value of g? So let's say this is Earth, this is the center, and this is the radius of Earth. Now let's say you are here, the object is here of mass m, and the distance is, let's say, h, or the height from the earth's surface is h, and the mass of earth is, let's say, capital M. So what will be the value of g here? So the value of g will be g at height h equal to universal gravitational constant into mass of earth upon total distance between the center of earth and the object, and that is r plus h whole square. Okay, distance square. So distance is r plus h, therefore we are taking the square. So if we compare with the usual formula is this one. Okay, if we compare it with this one, then what we can get? So let's say gh divide by g, so we will get gm upon r plus h whole square upon gm upon r square, putting the value of small g. So it can be written like this, So gh upon g is equal to r square upon r plus h whole square. Now this is the relation of acceleration due to gravity at height h with the acceleration due to gravity at the surface. This formula. So again I am repeating, this is the value of acceleration due to gravity on the surface or just nearby the surface of earth. But if you move quite above the surface of earth, then this formula will be used. Now next thing, let's say that we want to find the variation of g with depth. Let's say we could go inside the earth, variation of g with depth. So let's say we could somehow go inside the earth. At present we cannot, but let's say we could. So let me draw the diagram. So let's say this is the earth, and then we went inside the earth. The radius of earth is obviously, it is r. The depth that we have come inside is, let's say, this depth is, let's say, d, and what will be this distance? So this will be r minus d. So now what will be the value of g? So in order to find that, we need to understand that now at this point the particle is here, so what will happen is that only this part of earth will apply gravitational force towards earth, and this part will not be responsible for that gravitational force. So the inside region of earth will provide the gravitational force which will attract the particle towards the center of earth. So now we need to find the mass of this region. So in order to find the mass of this region, let's take mass equal to volume into density, because we know that density is equal to mass upon volume. So volume of the earth, complete volume, is 4 by 3 pi r cube, and the density, let's say it is rho. So it will give us the total mass. This is the total mass of earth. But now we need to find the mass of only this region. So how can we find that? So we can find that using this formula, that let's say this is m dash, mass of this region is m dash. Okay, m dash. So it can be found out by total mass of earth into the ratio of the volume. So the volume that we will take is r minus d to the whole cube, and the original volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube. So ultimately what we will get, m dash will be equal to r minus d cube upon r cube. So this mass is the mass of this particular region, So ultimately what we will get, the acceleration due to gravity at the depth will be equal to g, mass of the attracting body, that is the region below the object, that is this region, attracting body, upon again the distance between centers of the bodies, and its square. So the distance between centers of the body is this r minus d, and the mass, we have found out the mass, this value. So GD equal to g m dash upon r minus d whole square, which will give us g m r minus d whole cube by r cube and upon r minus d whole square, which will give us g m r minus d upon r cube. It can also be written like this, upon r square r minus d upon r. Now we know that gm upon r square is usual g, the acceleration due to gravity at the surface, and r minus d by r can be written like this also, g r by r minus d by r, which can be put like this: acceleration due to gravity at the depth is equal to acceleration due to gravity at the surface into 1 minus d by r. So this is our formula at the depth d. So this is the formula for height h, this is the formula for depth. Now the value of acceleration due to gravity also changes due to the spin of the earth. So let's find out about the variation of g with the spin of earth. Variation of g with or due to the spin of earth. So let's assume that this is our earth. Let's take this to be our axis, north pole and south pole. Let's say this is the equator. Let's try to draw. So let's say this is our equator. Now let's say we need to find the acceleration due to gravity at point P due to change in the acceleration due to the spin at point P, and let's say the angle made by this point from the equator line is, let's say, lambda. Okay, lambda, the angle is lambda. So then when you derive this, you will get that the acceleration due to this spin, variation in this acceleration due to spin is equal to g minus r omega square cos square lambda, where omega is the angular velocity. Let's say the earth is moving like this, so omega is the angular velocity. So this formula can be used in order to find the variation of acceleration due to gravity because of the spin of earth. So we have discussed about three situations in which the value of g can change because of height, because of depth, because of the spin of earth. Now let's discuss about one important topic, and that is the gravitational field. Gravitational field. So what is the concept of field? So in order to understand the concept of field, we need to understand how the gravitational force is applied. So we know that gravitational force is the force of attraction between two bodies, but one important thing to note is that the gravitational force is a force of attraction which do not have any contact with the body. So gravitational force is a non-contact force. That is, when earth attracts the apple, it is not that earth goes up and pulls the apple or touches the apple and then pulls it down. It is not the case. Without even touching the apple, earth attracts the apple. So gravitational force is a non-contact type of force. So the people were confused that how can gravitational force be applied without any contact. This same phenomena was observed with the magnets. So when there are two magnets, then they attract or repel each other without even coming in contact. Even when they are at a certain distance, they can attract or repel each other. Can you move a bottle with your hand without touching it? So no, you cannot. So the people started thinking, what is the reason behind this non-contact force? How can one magnet know that there is another magnet? How can apple know that there is earth below, or how can earth know that there is apple above without touching? So to understand that concept, the concept of field was introduced. So this field concept was introduced by Michael Faraday. So what is a field? So field is any invisible region in which the influence of the force is present, or the influence of force is there. So gravitational field is a non-contact force, or it is also termed as action as at a distance. So what is a field? A material body, when placed in space, then it sets up a gravitational field in which there is the influence of that body. So what is gravitational field? Invisible region. I am only talking about gravitational field here. Invisible region in which the influence of the gravitational force is present. In other words, field carries the information that there is a mass somewhere and it is applying some force on other object having mass. Now there is the concept of intensity of field. So intensity of gravitational field. So what is the meaning of intensity of gravitational field? It is the intensity of gravitational field at any point. Intensity of gravitational field at the given point is equal to the gravitational force experienced by a particle of unit mass placed at that point. Provided the unit mass itself doesn't produce any change in the field of material body, main body. In easy words, the intensity of gravitational field tells us about the strength of the gravitational field or strength of the gravitational force around any at any position, at any location. So when, let's say, the earth is here, let's say there is one object here, so the intensity of gravitational force will be more here and it will become less as we go away, because the force of gravity is stronger nearby and it is weaker far off. So the intensity of gravitational field tells us about the strength of the gravitational force. The more the field intensity, more will be the force of gravitation. So let's say there is this object, gravity will be more nearby the object and it will be less away from the object. Now what is the formula for the intensity of the gravitational field? So the formula for the intensity of the gravitational field is E equal to minus gm upon r square, and let's say the direction is like this, where m is the mass of the concerned object. Let's say this is our object for which whose intensity we are finding, so its mass will be there. It is quite simple. We are discussing about the gravitational field intensity of object having mass m, so then the field will only depend on the mass of that object. So this formula is there for the gravitational field, gm upon r square. The minus sign here indicates that the force of gravity and the electric fields are attractive, that is it is only attractive in nature, so because of that the minus sign is there. The field intensity is also written like this: force of gravity upon the test charge, or test mass. So let's say we are comparing the or we are finding about the amount of force by this mass on this small mass. So that is our test mass, which is used for finding the value of the force. So this is also the formula for electric field, the gravitational field, and the unit will come out to be Newton per kilogram. So the gravitational field intensity has the unit Newton per kilogram, SI unit. So what is field? Field is the invisible region near any mass, and it tells us about the influence of mass m on other objects, and it carries the information of the mass to other objects, and because of which the force is applied by one mass to another object or another mass object, and without any contact. So field is the a source of communication between two objects of mass, objects having some mass. So now let's start with gravitational potential, concept of gravitational potential. So as the gravitational force is a conservative force, then there is a concept of potential that we can introduce whenever there is a conservative force. So gravitation, what is the meaning of gravitational potential? So gravitational potential at any given point in gravitational field is the amount of work done in bringing a unit mass from infinity to that point without acceleration, Let's say this is the let's say we need to move mass having mass m, object having mass m, from infinity to a point, let's say point A. So what is gravitational force? It is the amount of work done in bringing this mass m from infinity to a point A in the gravitational field. So potential is represented by V. So this is the work done per unit mass, and the minus sign will be there, which again represents that the gravitational potential or gravitational force is attractive in nature, or it also shows that the gravitational potential decrease in the direction of the gravitational field. So work done per unit mass is the potential. When you solve this, you will also get this formula. So potential can also be described as the negative of gm upon r, where r is the distance between two points. Let's say this is our mass m, and the distance between mass m and the point P from which we are moving the object is r. So if we move the object from P1 to P, then the potential will become minus gm by r. Now let's try to discuss what is the gravitational potential energy. Gravitational potential energy. So gravitational potential energy has this famous formula, potential energy. It is represented by U usually. So U, and it is mgh, the famous formula. But for now we will try to derive another formula here, which is a bit different, and it will be in terms of capital G and mass of the celestial object. So let's say that we have mass m1 at point A, there is this point B, there is this point C, and there are intermediate points D and E. The distances between them, let's say this is small distance dr, and the distance here between A and D is r, A and B is r1, and A and C is r2. So let's say what we are trying to do here is we are trying to move particle m1 which is kept at A, and there is another particle m2 which is kept at B, and we are taking it from point B to point C. So we are moving mass m2 from point B to point C. So initially the distance between m1 and m2 was r1 because the point mass m2 was at B, so the distance was r1, and gradually it will become, the distance will become r2 because m1 will remain here and m2 will come here, so the distance will become r2. So when this happens, then there is some change in the potential energy, and there is some work that is to be done because m1 and m2 will attract each other. So in order to separate them, we need to do some work on the system. So that work that we have done in the system is stored in the form of potential energy. So we know that work done is equal to force into displacement. And why are we doing using minus? Because the gravitational force is the attractive force. So minus g, the force will be g m1 m2 upon the distance, let's say r square. Let's say we are discussing about this. So we are moving from D to E, and the distance between A and the mass m2 will be r when it is at point D. So into dr. So when we want to find the complete formula, then we need to integrate this, and work done will be equal to, after integration we can find this. But before that, one more important thing, the potential energy is the negative of the work done, so it will give us g m1 m2 upon r square into dr. Potential energy is the negative of the work done. Change in the potential energy is the negative of the work done. So potential energy at r2, initial potential final potential energy minus initial potential energy, that is potential energy at r1, gives us du. So once we integrate this from r1 to r2, g m1 m2 upon r square dr. So g m1 m2 is constant, it will come out r1 to r2 1 upon r square dr. So when we integrate this, we will get g m1 m2 1 upon r, and minus sign will be there, r2 r1. Now this is a change in potential energy, or yeah. Now what will happen, once you put the limits, you will get upper limit minus lower limit, so you will get 1 by r2 and plus 1 by r1, or in other words g m1 m2 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. Now let's say if you are moving the particle to infinity, then we can reduce this formula like this. It will be g m1 m2 upon, we are taking it from the mass is taken from infinity to point r. So initial point was infinity, final point is r, so it will become minus g m1 m2 upon r. So the potential energy is equal to minus g m1 m2 upon r. So this is our formula for potential energy. This formula will tell us about the potential energy of any mass when it is kept at a distance of r from any other mass. So these are few of the formulas: potential energy, potential, then field, then the acceleration due to gravity. So all these things can be a bit confusing initially, but when you do it 1 or 2 times, 2-3 times, you will get the hang of it and try to do some questions. Now let's discuss the last part, which is the satellite or planetary motion. So planets and satellites. So let's say we have this celestial object. It can be a star around which a planet is moving, or it can be a planet around which a satellite is moving. Okay, so let's assume that the sun is here and there is a planet here having velocity, orbital velocity v. The distance, let's say, is a for now. So what will be the speed? What will be the speed, this v? So it can be found out by the second law of motion. There are two forces acting on the planet. One is the centrifugal force, which is pushing the planet out, and one is the gravitational force, which is holding it towards it. So the centrifugal force is equal to mv square by r. Here we are taking radius to be a, and the force of gravity is gm upon r square, that is a square. So from here we will get that v is equal to root gm upon a. So this is the speed of any planet or any satellite in the orbit. This is the orbital velocity. Okay, this is the speed of the planet or a satellite when it is around any star or any planet. Now what about the time period? So time period. So the time period can be found out by we know that speed or velocity is equal to displacement or distance upon time. So time will be, let's say capital T will be distance upon velocity, it will be 2 pi a, because the distance traveled is 2 pi r, that is the circumference. So 2 pi a upon velocity, so T equal to 2 pi a upon root gm upon a equal to 2 pi root gm a to the power 3 by 2. How? Let me explain. This is a, and this a 1 by 2, this a 1 by 2 will move upward. So we will have a 1 by 2. So it will be 2 pi root gm and a ki power 1 plus 1 by 2. So it will give us T equal to 2 pi root gm a to the power 3 by 2. So this is the time period of the planet moving around the sun. What about the energy? So energy can be found out. So there are two types of energy obviously. First is the kinetic energy. So kinetic energy will be half mv square, and second is the potential energy, and we know that the potential energy is equal to minus g mm, and it is also represented by U, and kinetic energy can be represented by K or T upon A. Now let's convert this into a different form. So half m and v square will be gm upon a, as we have found the value of v above. So it will give us gmm upon 2a. So ultimately the total energy will be equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy, which will be gmm upon 2a minus gm upon a, which will give us minus gmm upon 2a. So these are the formulas: total energy, kinetic energy and potential energy. If you notice, total energy and kinetic energy have the same magnitude, just the sign is opposite. The negative energy shows that the force of gravity is attractive force. So now all these formulas can be used for a star or planet system, or a planet and a satellite system. Energy, time period, velocity, all these things. So with this, the chapter gravity is complete, and try to revise all the formulas so that you can use them.